Okay, we've been talking about selling your house without a real estate agent, and like I've said in previous videos, there's no reason to use a real estate agent. Sell your house yourself, make the money, keep the commission. There's no need giving away money when it's easy to do. And I get it. I know most people have never sold their house by themselves, and they need some confidence and some help in doing it. But here's what you got to think. I can save myself, let's say your house is, for easy math, let's say it's a $100,000 house. 6% of that is what you're going to pay in real estate. I can save myself $6,000. What could you do with $6,000? I know most people could really use $6,000 extra dollars that they really wasn't expecting to get to keep. So don't throw that money away. I can help you. It's not a big deal to do this. So we've talked about in the past, in previous videos, there's some videos here that will help you. We talked about how to determine the price, which is not difficult. Look at your neighbors, what they're selling their houses for. Pretty simple, right? I mean, look at Zillow. See what the houses are listed for in your neighborhood. Hey, decide how much you want for your house. It's a seller's market right now, and so look at the. Just figure out what you want. How much did you pay for your house? How much do you want to make on it? Start there. So set the price high. I mean, obviously start off very high. You can always come down. You can't go up. So that's pricing. Then once you determine your price, then you got to figure out how to get it on the market. That's pretty simple. We talked about getting a sign, pushing the sign in the ground, putting your number on there, and letting people call you. That's the easiest way. I did that with my brother. He lives in the country. He lives out. He doesn't live in a neighborhood. He doesn't live close to anybody. I put a sign in his front yard, and I had no idea that this would happen. But within 2 hours of me placing the sign in the yard, the person who bought the house called us and bought the house. Now it took 30 days, and the other people did call. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying the very first person who called was the person who wanted the house. A lot of times the people are driving by the neighborhoods they want to live in, and that's how that happened. So advertising is easy. Obviously put it on Craigslist. Everybody can write an ad for Craigslist. It's not that difficult. So between the sign and Craigslist, that's all you have to do. Alright, so you got it priced, you got it advertised with a sign and Craigslist ad, and now people are going to start calling you. Okay, so once they start calling you, they're going to ask you some questions, right? So they're going to ask you questions about how many bedrooms, how many baths, how old is it, when was the air conditioner last replaced, have you had it inspected for termites? So you're going to get those questions. Don't sweat the small stuff. If you don't know the answer, then decide, listen, I'll get that for you. I don't know. But you are going to get questions about when was the roof last replaced, right? People want to know major stuff. The roof, the heating and air, when was it last done? Those are probably the two major things that people are going to ask you about. So just have that information, ready so you can give it to them. And then obviously, if they're interested in looking at it, set up a time. Say, listen, if you want to look at it, be glad to show it to you, and set that time that's convenient for you. Hey, I'll be able to show it to you Saturday morning or Monday night at this time, whatever. And it's just a simple matter of letting people come look at your house and letting them show it. Nobody knows your house better than you. You can show it better than a real estate agent. You don't need a real estate agent to show your house. So obviously, I mean, the basic stuff on that is, clean your house up. Get all the clutter out. The more the clutter out, go to Goodwill and get the crap out of your closets, because everybody's got a lot of crap in their house you don't need. This is the perfect time just to get the crap out. Now, that being said, I will say this too. My brother was in a hurry to sell his house. I won't go into details, but he was in a hurry and didn't really have time to do much to his house at all. And so he didn't do much at all. I mean, basically it was barely cleaned. It was cleaned, but it wasn't, outside looked a mess. It wasn't in good shape, but he still got $10,000 more than what he thought he was going to get for his house. So I'm just saying, if you're the kind of person who has the time and you're got a good work ethic and whatever you can do to your house, do it. It'll help you get more money, but at the same time, don't sweat it. So you show your house. Okay, so now we're coming down to a little bit of negotiating, right? So negotiating the price of the house. And let me go back and say this too. And it kind of correlates with negotiating the house, is that you are going to have people who call you. You're going to have real estate agents call you wanting to list your house. Do not list it with anybody. You don't need a listing agent. That's the person who represents you. They're going to put the for sale sign out there, and their part of the commission is 3%. And the buyer's agent, their part is 3%. You don't need a seller's agent. You don't need somebody to help you. I can tell you enough that you don't need that. Now, what may happen is that you may have a buyer who calls you who's working with a real estate agent. And so that represents 3%. Let's say this $100,000 house, that represents $3,000 in commission that you have to pay to that buyer's agent. So the buyer pays no real estate commission. But now here's the trick. Here's something you could do. You could add that 3% to your house. Let's say it's a $100,000 house. You decided, hey, I want $120,000 for it. And then you say, and let's say that's the bottom line. I'm not going to take any less than 120. And then you say, but you know what? Let me factor in if a buyer's agent comes to me and wants to, present this house to their buyer, then I'm going to need another 3%. So now I'm going to say I want 123. So 3% of 100,000 would be 3,000. So I said bottom line was 120. Now I'm going to add 3,000 to it, so my bottom line is 123. That's the lowest I'll take is 123. So now what you have, well, let's say that's the bottom line what you'll take. So now you want to list it a lot higher. So maybe you list it at 140 and negotiate your way down, or 130. We can talk more about that. But if you see what I'm saying, is now I got a baseline of 120. I added 3,000 for a buyer's agent. That way, if a buyer's agent does call you and you sell it to a house, you sell your house to somebody who's working through an agent, then you can let them bring you people to your house. Now, the advantage of that, now you're still saving 3% because you're not working with a listing agent, so you're only paying 3%, and you could even negotiate that. You could say, listen, I really want to sell my house by myself with no real estate agents. If you bring me a buyer, I'll give you 2%. You could always do that. So you always can come down. But let's say you 3% is what they charge. What happens to that when they come to you, they'll be responsible for bringing the contract with them. It's not worth $3,000, don't get me wrong, but that's just one way to negotiate and to accept buyers that are using buyer's agents. So all right, so let's say people starting to look at your house, they're starting to make offers. Let's use this case of 123 as our walk away. I probably would price it somewhere like at maybe, it depends on what it needs, and that's the part you have to really kind of factor in, because whatever it needs, they're going to try to negotiate that off the price. So let's say it needs a roof, and the roof is $5,000. So you gotta know that they're going to, whatever price you set, they're going to want the roof repaired. Let's say the roof needs repaired, that's $5,000, and the heating and air needs to be repaired. I'm gonna say that's $2,500. So now you got $7,500 that you're going to have to negotiate to get to your price. So let's say we want 123. Let's say we add the $7,500 to it. So now we're at 130,500 is where we are now. If we started at 130,500 and we gave them $5,000 for the roof, $2,500 for the heating and air, then we would be at our 123 at the very end. We would still get our 123. So you see, that's how you negotiate. You have to figure out, and obviously you paid $100,000 for the house, so you still made your $23,000 on selling your house. Or if you use a real estate agent, then you pay that $3,000 to the real estate agent, so you pay $7,500, $5,000 for the roof, $2,500 for the heat and air, $3,000 for the real estate agent. Now you've cleared 120. You bought it for 100. You made 20,000. So that's how you have to think through. You just have to sit down with a piece of paper and figure this out. And we'll be having some free courses, some call-ins, and some Facebook Live discussions to help people through this, so you kind of know. It's just that I hate to see people get taken advantage of just because it's just a lack of knowledge, and the knowledge is not that complex. So that's how you negotiate your pricing. And so part of negotiation too, just remember, is that somebody starts looking at your house, I mean, you have to let them know that other people are looking at it, because everybody wants to buy something that's desired by other people. So if somebody called me, said they're looking, then I say, hey, listen, that's great. I mean, you can look at it Saturday morning. I got 2 other showings or 3 other showings, but I can definitely work you in between 9:30 and 10. Does that work for you? So then they know that your house is being desired by other people. That makes people want it more because other people want it. It's just human nature. So anyway, that's a little bit about negotiation. I know it can get kind of complex, but don't let it overwhelm you. It's something I can help you with. It's not that difficult. And then maybe next time we'll talk a little bit about putting a contract together. You can Google sell your house by yourself contract, or a contract for, so that's not difficult. A lot of times the buyer will bring the contract. If the buyer's not working with a real estate agent, then you may need to have the contract. And there's plenty of attorneys around that would do the contract for you. They'll give you a free copy of the contract if you use them to help close your house. So, and that's the other thing you do have to figure out in your negotiations, is the closing costs, how much it's going to cost you to close. And you can call a local attorney and ask them, a real estate attorney, and ask them, hey, what's the estimated closing costs on this house if I use you? So in our example, we may need to add another $1,500 to our closing cost. And so we may, as far as putting that all together and making sure we recovered our $120,000, we may add $1,500 to that number as well. But anyway, that's an overview. Like I said, I don't want to make it seem like it's too complex. It's something that you basically figure out what your walkaway number is, and then you add in all the other expenses that you would have to go through in selling the house, and then that's where you start a little bit over that and negotiate and make sure you don't go below that number. So anyway, I hope that helps. I know it's got a little bit longer than what I intended, but I wanted to give you the information to help you.